the internet is just like the Roman Colosseum. Essentially, you have this huge, giant, now global arena with billions of people in the audience watching this fight for the truth. And the people that are in the arena are those that have influence in the social sphere, the social influencers, those who are basically leaders. They're leaders of ideas. And those in the audience are entertained by the battle, by these people that are essentially sacrificing themselves in order to try to win this battle of truth of the internet. And the emperor is the technocrat that has the ultimate power to decide the fate of the contestants. But even the technocrat is subject to the will of the people. So in a sense, everyone involved in this game, in this activity, is a slave to something else, right? So the emperor, he's got the great power, right? So all of the people in the audience, in a sense, they're slaves to his rule, okay? The gladiators are slaves. So for some reason, they have to fight. If you look at it in terms of the internet, perhaps they feel they have to fight because this is the main way they can provide money for themselves and their families. So they have to fight because this is the only way they can make money like that. So they have to put themselves out there. So that's why you might say that these social media influencers become enslaving. Okay, they become slaves to the audience, slaves to the emperor. And the emperor, the technocrat, is also not totally free. He does not have total true power. Why? Because he's also subject to the will of the people. If he does what they think is fair, they will generally go along with his will up to a point. If he upsets the crowd, the audience, too much, then everyone will work together and revolt, and they can, take him out of power. So for example, if the technocrat does something very unpopular, everyone knows who the technocrat is, his reputation can be ruined. People, he could get, quote unquote canceled. Yet he also has the power to cancel the gladiators. He could say, you know what, let this gladiator be executed. So if, for whatever reason, the technocrat or those that are in that rule decide that somebody will be banned from a media platform, they will be banned. Sometimes this banning may happen in secret. Why? Because they know that there are limits to the patience of the audience in the Colosseum, of all the internet users. If something goes too overboard, the audience will gang up on the ruling powers. Those in the Colosseum, their freedom is that they get to be anonymous. The gladiators, you know who they are. So they've given up complete privacy. Now, everything they do is being watched and monitored. They have to be very careful what they do and in terms of the internet of what they say as well. So these people in the audience, they're anonymous essentially, and because they don't have power, they're irrelevant. That's the interesting thing. Not having power can make you more powerful in the sense you have more freedom. People don't know who you are, they leave you alone. And those in the audience, you know, they can talk, they can attack you, they can say bad things about you, they can say whatever they want, they can laugh at you because they're anonymous, they're part of the crowd. And they will do that because, you know, that's their way for getting back at you, because if you upset them for whatever reason. So why is there so much trolling? Why is there so much negativity? I guess I don't know, that's the question. Does the Colosseum encourage negativity because people are able to say things anonymously and not be held accountable? But then, should we all have the freedom to say what we want and never be accountable? Well, the only way that would work is if what you say had no power, and words do have power. That's why you have to be responsible. But then there are regulations, but then ultimately, what are the regulations based on? It is in my belief that the ultimate regulation is that universal law of love. So that's what I feel. Ultimately, the goal should be based on that. And that doesn't mean we should be impractical, unrealistic, and overly idealistic. You still may have to deal with certain necessary evils at the time until you are able to fix them. Question is, though, are you progressing? Are you making progress in going for this higher ideal that is aiming towards love? So the gladiators, the social media influencers, yes, they're slaves and they're forced to fight and compete, but they get the most glory. They get to be the hero. Generally speaking, the emperor, the ruler, the technocrat is not seen so much of a hero because they don't represent an idea necessarily, they just have power. And in fact, that power makes people frightened of them, and then ultimately we don't really like what we're scared of, and if you're someone with power and you're generally good, we're just like the everyday people are just grateful. It may be hard for them to love you because they fear you. So that's when you get somebody with a lot of power that has the power, but then also has the people's favor, which is fickle and often not based on reality. The anonymity of those in the audience can also be seen in a positive way, in that a lot of people will be more open to give, more real information, more real experience, their deep, true feelings. So in that way, it could be good because they will feel more comfortable doing that. Why? Because they're anonymous, and they're not famous. They're quote unquote so-called irrelevant in society. Okay, I'm laughing because your social influence or whatever, does not necessarily determine your relevance. But that's what society wants you to think, to enslave you in this whole emperor, audience, gladiator, coliseum arena known as the WWW, the World Wide Web, the internet, the cyber highways. That thing we surf, it's like a wave, and it does come in waves, right? Waves of virality, waves of people cheering or booing. So what can we learn from this? We can learn to not get swept up by the wave. We can learn to not contribute to the negativity. Don't be a follower. Don't fall in the wave. Don't contribute to negativity or illusion. Contribute to truth, harmony, beauty, wisdom, positivity. The audience does have power. It's a power that you cannot easily determine or predict. It's very unpredictable. Even we, as people, we don't know. You don't know what's going to become popular, what's going to become the next wave. You just don't know, because it comes out of nowhere, and that's why it does become so big, because you never saw it coming. It's so new and amazing. It changes everything. Internet mobbery, internet mobs, internet bullying, internet ganging up on people. If it's not constructive, then it really doesn't need to be said. And even if it's true, yeah, the truth does hurt. This does not mean people are weak. This is human nature. So the truth that you share it with kindness and compassion, right? It's like if somebody loses a family member, you share that truth with kindness because it's gonna hurt. Don't reflect, instead project. Don't reflect what they give you if what they give you is not healthy and good. If what the group gives you, yes, be that person, fine. Be the eye of the storm. Be the sane eye of the storm while everything is just out of control, but you're at the center of it, calm, grounded, silent,